FantasyFootball champions.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes!
Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Yo,
What's up?
what up, dudes? How are we?
Rich, episode 94
94.
on the Belly Up Network.
Who would have thought? You know, who would have thought?
94. We're pushing almost 100. We're getting close to 100 episodes.
Dude, that's crazy. 6 more
Wow.
weeks to 100. Look at
Right?
look at how far we've come.
Showing
It is
off.
insane. I'm so happy to be here with you boys.
Triple digits.
You know what the thing that really pisses me off, Don?
Talk about it.
We can't say that we're 9-0. That's what pisses me off because I want to drive that into it. Because you know what? There's a lot that needs to be broken down from this game. And Joe was correct. I was correct about it on the last show. Don, you also mentioned that the guy who I'm looking at, who I'm going to point the fingers at, is Gannon. He is the most skeptical fucker that we can discuss tonight. Because it makes no sense to me how you, with that personnel and that talent, cannot stop a bad offense in Washington. 8 of 12. Hey, Mike, how are you, bud?
Okay.
Like, how the fuck can you stop that putrid offense? 8 for 12 on third downs. And how many times do they have third and short? I don't want to hear we miss Jordan Davis, right? I don't want to hear that because we do, but it's not an issue. How do you not adjust?
You got to make up for it.
How do you not adjust? How do you not blitz? How do you not send run blitzes?
The whole game.
The whole fucking game
was the same thing. What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. It makes no fucking sense to me. And I'm so mad about it because I'm watching this game. It was a winnable game. Okay? I don't give a crap about the refs because the refs are going to ref. Like, it is. Oh, there he is. Look at that stud.
Hey, what up?
Making an appearance in his Megadeth hoodie. I love it.
I'm back.
It's about fucking time, Jay. Jesus.
Sorry, I'm late.
Kick him off the show and bring him back in. We'll give him another warm welcome.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh, he's back.
Where are you at, Rich?
I'm in my house. We got rid of the table. I'm sitting in this.
Barn.
What's up? It looks like a barn.
I said it looks like a bar.
Yeah, my downstairs is pretty woody. Pretty woody. Kind of like it like that.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Where's your mug?
Where's
your
my
mug of beer?
I don't know, dude. Got lost somewhere in the shop. It's upstairs. My wife just got home. She had a long day. I'm staying in the basement. I don't know. She needs her relaxation time. I love you, Jane. You're a beautiful woman. Anyway.
I have to throw that out.
Gannon, bro. Fucking Gannon.
Dude, it doesn't make sense. I just don't. Who is having these conversations during the week? Who has this conversation with him after the game or during the game and says, "Look, dude, what are you doing?" They're still doing the nickel defense when Washington's just lining up and smashing the ball. They did it in the first quarter. They did it in the second quarter. They did it in the third quarter. They did it in the fourth quarter. When were you going to switch it up?
They didn't.
He didn't switch it up the whole game.
Once.
Joe,
Once.
but they're not. Like, and the alarming thing for me for this game was the fact that they had a week and a half to plan for this game.
It's the flashbacks to Tampa Bay, Don. It's the flashbacks to Tampa Bay.
You had a week
you get cooked.
It felt like you were getting waterboarded. Like you felt like you were just getting water droplets just dropped. And Washington was patient enough to say, okay, you're going to give us the plays in the flat, great. You're going to give us 5 yards every run, great. And they were just patient enough to just keep taking it and taking it and taking it, and they never made any kind of adjustments. And they're banking on the fact that, like, at some point they'll get impatient. And Washington just never did. They just never got impatient. And, now the schedule, when you look ahead now, looks a lot different, right? Because now the playbook is there based on the last 2 games. The game in Houston and this game here gave the blueprint for how you attack this team.
Yeah.
Run the ball.
Adjust.
Stay patient.
Control the clock,
Control the clock. Like, those drives, right? Like,
bro, 41 minutes. 41 minutes our defense was on the field.
They had
just unheard of.
They had 6 minutes of possession, like, in the first half. Like, that was atrocious. It was, and I'm going, how do you keep this offense off this field? Right? You do exactly what Washington did. You run the ball, you stay patient, right? You control that clock. It
weren't even chunk plays either. It wasn't even like it was chunk plays. 4 yards, 3 yards. And then they're setting up 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, convert. 3rd and 1, convert. 3rd and 3, convert. It's like, when are you going to send a blitz? When are you going to play to your team's strengths? When are you going, like, your cornerbacks
use what you have.
Can only bail you out for so long.
Yep. All right, so Rich,
you give Taylor Heineke 4 seconds to throw the ball. What's he going to do? A corner's not going to cover a player for 4 seconds. Sorry.
No, not at all.
It's not going to happen.
No, but you look at it, right? Like, outside of that first possession, right? The first possession that Washington has the ball, they have it for 4 plays. Yeah. They go 10 yards. They fumble. Eagles turn right around, right? Score, set the tone. They go up 7-0. That next drive, 13 plays, 75 yards, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
The next time they get the ball back, 12 plays, 49 yards, 6.5 minutes. The next time, 16 plays, 86 yards, 7 minutes. And then even at halftime, right? 8 plays, 30 yards. Like, 8 plays, 30 yards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they controlled every aspect of this game. And the second that I knew that I felt like it wasn't in the cards, right? That play, that drive at right before halftime.
Yeah.
Where they get the ball back with a minute left and they're able to go right down, kick a field goal, and go up 20. They go up 20-14.
Then we open up with 3 passes. Like,
right.
It was
3 plays, 7 yards, 1.5, a minute and a half.
It was a legit what the fuck moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that next drive for Washington in the first, right, 14 plays.
Yeah.
66 yards.
6 minutes or whatever. 8 minutes.
8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, you controlled every aspect of this game if you're Washington, and they did exactly what they wanted to do. They did everything they wanted to do.
And we let them. We let them do it.
You know what the funny thing is?
We let them off the hook.
You know what the funny thing is? Jalen Hurts played phenomenal.
He did that.
Jalen Hurts played phenomenal.
That pass to Brown
was money.
I mean, it bounced. It caught him off guard, or if he misjudged. I don't know. But
he threw it and
talk about putting the ball
off of
you.
Brown.
You don't have to question him anymore about his deep ball or his accuracy, because that ball couldn't have been thrown any better. Talk about dropping the ball in a bucket.
Yeah. And then Quez Watkins, when the ball hits him in a breadbasket, in stride, he rolls. Why are you rolling, dude? Stay on your feet. It's an easy touchdown. And then if you fall, just stay the fuck down. Stay down. Who gives a shit? You set your team up.
You got to know that contact's coming. You got to brace yourself.
It just was. The Eagles shot themselves in the foot, but
they did.
Gannon needs to go. I was over this shit last year. I don't care if you're 8-1. You make a switch at defensive coordinator, because now teams have a game plan. And if the Eagles lose a second straight week and Gannon doesn't make adjustments, Howie needs to go, hey, yo, Vic Fangio, I know you're hanging around. Go take over. Because it makes no sense. How he doesn't adjust ever in games. And that is going to kill you. Good coaches adjust. Bad coaches don't adjust. And what happens? You fucking lose games.
And here's the craziest thing about all that. Even with all of that bullshit going on, they
were still
could
in it.
have won.
Yeah.
Right? Like if Quez Watkins holds on to that ball, they've got the ball with 5 minutes left on the 15-yard line. They can go right in and score.
Yeah.
Like that to like even with all that dumb shit that happened and all the as much as people want to say the officiating was horrible at baseline, right? And they made a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
They won't get a left.
And they still
Had a
almost
shot.
won that game.
The fact that they didn't blow Taylor Heineke down when he kneeled and looked at the ref, and the ref allowed him to get hit by BG, who was slowing up, to throw a fucking penalty flag is atrocious.
What was he supposed to? Where was he supposed to go?
And why aren't you calling the play dead? If Taylor Heineke dropped his knee to the ground after that and looking at the official staring at him like this. Like, what is he supposed to do? And then all of a sudden, but here's my thing that fucks me up, right? They were saying, all right, unnecessary roughness, hit to the head and neck, right? Isn't he a runner at that point? Because he's outside the tackle box. Isn't he a runner? I can get the unnecessary roughness. I get the reason why the flag was thrown. I get that. Yeah. But when are you a runner? When are you not? Head and neck, I'm not sure. I get it.
They're always going to protect the quarterback.
But it makes no fucking sense that he didn't play that.
It doesn't. You're right. It's the antithesis of everything that the rules say it is. But we know that like you could breathe wrong on a quarterback at this point, and they're going to call it.
Jay, you've been too quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jay, you gotta speak up, brother.
I'm enjoying the conversation. I mean, I know this is going to come across wrong, but I'm actually happy that they lost. And the reason I'm happy is because I think –
come out again.
I think they had too big a head being 8-0. There was too much of this talk going around, and I'm not saying from us, but pretty much all over the radio, all the talk was, are we going to be undefeated? And, I was getting so sick of hearing about it because it was like, I could care less if this team was undefeated. The real goal is to win a Super Bowl. And the bottom line is the Eagles lost this game. Washington didn't win it.
Yeah.
Realistically, if you look at it, there's three things that really have me concerned, though, about this team. We have probably, if not one of the most expensive defensive lines in football.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing to me that we need Jordan Davis in there to be able to stop the run. It's embarrassing when you have a guy like Fletcher Cox, who I don't care if he's old, he still should be able to stop the run.
He stinks.
You have Brandon Graham, who, yes, I get it. He's coming off an injury, but he's still supposed to be, a good player. You got all these guys, and you can't stop the run when you know it's coming.
Agreed.
That to me is unacceptable. And honest to God, yes, Jonathan Gannon has to go. I'm frustrated with him. I'd rather have Jim Schwartz back, but that's besides the point. They got a lot more issues than that. But as I said, they lost this game because, honest to God, like Don said, with all the chaos that was going on, with all the way that, they came out realistically flat in this game, they still could have won.
Yeah.
So that is why I have hope. But there is definite cause for concern, and I think they needed to be smacked in the mouth because I think they have big heads, and I think Nick Sirianni was thinking he was better than he is. And I just want this team to kind of be humble and realize, you got to fight to get to the top. And whether or not they're 8-1, are they the best team in the NFL? I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, we beat the Vikings, but the Vikings just beat the Bills.
Yeah.
And I get it, Josh Allen, maybe he's hurt, but, I look at a team like Kansas City who has Pat Mahomes. Anybody that has Pat Mahomes as their quarterback is going to be in any game. So I don't know if the Eagles are necessarily the best team in the NFL as we were thinking they were, but they're still a good team. And I'm not ready to sit here and just be like, oh, well, they lost one game, now they suck.
Yeah.
But there's definitely issues, and I think Jonathan Gannon is probably the biggest issue.
I don't think, and that's the thing, I don't think the Eagles suck. I just think now you're exposed. And will you adapt? Will you change? And we know historically in the season and a half, that Gannon's been here, he doesn't adapt. He doesn't change. He sticks with the same stupid shit. And that's the frustrating point. Nick Sirianni, being the head coach of this football team, needs to step in and be like, you need to make adjustments in-game, live time when it's happening.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, I will find somebody who can. Because it makes no fucking sense that you do not change your game plan when teams are running all over you. I get it.
100% spot on, Rich. I'm wondering, like, is Nick Sirianni scared of Jonathan Gannon? Like, is he scared to have that conversation? Is he scared to actually, like, is he scared to hold him accountable? Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like he doesn't ever want to take the bull by the reins and say, you know what, I'm not the defensive coordinator, but I need to step in here and, like, kind of, throw my weight. Because that's what you have to do when you're a manager. I mean, the bottom line is, yes, Jonathan Gannon is the defensive coordinator, but Nick Sirianni is the coach of the team. So he oversees everything. He needs to have that conversation. And it doesn't need to be in game. It needs to be this week. Like, yo, bud, you guys got manhandled by a team that, by a unit that really shouldn't manhandle you.
If I'm
manhandle anybody.
Yeah.
If I'm Hassan Riddick or I'm one of the guys you just brought in and be like, dude, why are we not blitzing? If I'm a player, I want an explanation of why we're not doing what we were brought in to do. Why is our defensive line can't get pressure with 4? So we're not going to send 5. We're not going to send 6. We have great corners. But again, corners can only cover for so long. Right. You give a guy, I don't give a fuck if it's me, Jay, Don, Joe, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, Joe Montana, not Joe Montana, Joe Montana. You give this guy 4 seconds to throw the ball, you're going to find somebody. Somebody's going to get open.
Yeah.
You can't let this happen. And good offenses will kill you.
Yeah.
You're lucky that we played against Washington because it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and I'm not Jay. I wouldn't argue with you that I wasn't on the they need to lose a game kind of piece, but it was the way that they lost. It was how lackluster it looked, how out of not into the game they looked. It was just bad. It was bad from the time that they scored that second touchdown. From that point on, it never looked like they were in control of the game at all. And that to me was the hard part to swallow, right? And now we talk about the game plan, right? That is now in place to say this is how you beat this team, right? And we when we looked ahead at the schedule, right? We were looking at one position. We were looking at quarterbacks, right? Because we were saying, all right, well, Matt Ryan or whoever's quarterback for the Colts, don't worry about him, right? We knew Aaron Rodgers is going to be some version of himself.
Yeah.
Right. You look at Malik Willis, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, but now we're looking at a different position. Right now we're looking at Jonathan Taylor. Now we're looking at we're looking at the 2 guys that are playing really, really well in the backfield for the Packers. Right. And then we're looking at Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, right? Like that the game now that format is there. The look ahead to the schedule looks a lot different if other teams take that game plan and say, all right, well, we're going to run our best version of this.
But this goes back to Mike's point. Mike's point was spot on when he said the thing that nobody's talking about right now is Fletcher Cox is cooked. Fletcher Cox has been done since last year. It's the reason I didn't want him back. I was completely content with cutting ties with Fletcher Cox because, 1, he's a lazy motherfucker. He is one of the laziest dudes I see out in the field. His stupid, I'm throwing my arm out there to try to knock you down when it's Brian Robinson or Antonio Gibson running up the gut. No effort. The dude has done nothing. Nothing.
If the Eagles had faith in Fletcher Cox and who they have now, they wouldn't have signed Linval Joseph today.
No.
I mean, that right there tells you all you need to know about their confidence in the unit that they have in front of them when they're signing a guy that basically played on one of the worst defenses in the league last year. That's been unsigned up until now. Week 10 or 11?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that to me shows you their confidence in Fletcher Cox. And it's not just Fletcher Cox. As I said, they have the highest priced defensive line in football. It's really unacceptable to me that they're playing this way.
Yeah.
Regardless if Jordan Davis is hurt or not. Like, you can't stop the run when you know it's coming at you.
Yeah.
And that was against Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. We're facing Jonathan Taylor, who I get it. He's been not Jonathan Taylor of like last year, but he's still Jonathan Taylor.
He's coming off 147 yards last week.
Come on.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that scares me about the Colts. They actually have a coach they respect. That's scary. Because let's be real. To be a good coach in anything is to have the players behind you. Players play hard when they believe in their leader. Yep. Nobody believes in Frank Reich. Why? Because you brought in fucking Ginger Jesus. You brought in Carson Wentz. Everybody knew he stunk. It's a terrible move. And he was a locker room killer when it came down to all the COVID and all the bullshit and all that. But Frank Reich could turn him around. That didn't happen. You bring in Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan looks cooked because of the plays that you're trying to run with him. Then Jonathan Taylor gets hurt. Then he comes back. You have Jeff Saturday tweeting from his couch the week before he plays the Raiders. Man, the Raiders are not good. Then they go out and beat the Raiders. Jeff Saturday is a pro. He might not be the ideal head coach, but he's been around winners. He's been there, and his press conference was hilarious. He's like, I could be really good at this job, or in 8 weeks, I could suck. And guess what? I'll get fired. He's like, who knows? I respect that guy because he knows what it is. The qualifications of being a head coach, you have everybody under you, you delegate, right? But you inspire, you lead these young men into battle every Sunday. If they believe in this guy, they're going to play hard. You're going to get a different Colts team than it was the previous weeks. It's the same thing with the Eagles. You believe in your head coach. You believe in Nick Sirianni. You're going to get a different team. But my issue is bouncing back from this adversity. What is going to change? Are we going to see a change in the defense? Are we going to see a change in, hey, we need to stop taking our foot off the gas and we need to keep scoring and not relying on our defense? Because obviously the recipe's there. You run the ball against us, you control the clock, you beat the team. Yeah. Are they going to come out with more fire? Are they going to run the ball when they're down just to establish and just to help your defense breathe?
Right.
What are they going to do differently this Sunday? What do they need to do differently? And can we adjust? That is what I'm looking at. Win or lose, did we adjust? Did we just beat ourselves again? Or did we lose? Because like you said, Jay, we gave that. We didn't win. They didn't win. We just lost.
Gave it to them. Yeah.
We gave it to them. We need to make these adjustments. We need to make these adjustments, and I just don't see it happening. And this is the thing that I hate about Gannon. It's the thing I hated about Gannon. I saw what happened in that playoff game against Tampa Bay, and nothing changed, and Tampa Bay killed us. Should we have made the playoffs last year? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
But the fact that you got a guy so fucking stubborn and thinking he's so fucking smart, which is the thing I hate the most, is when people think they're super smart and they're not. That's what scares me. And I hope this guy gets a fucking head coaching job so we can just say goodbye and find somebody else who actually likes the B word. And I'm not talking bitches. I'm talking blitzes.
Well, listen, Rich, to speak to something you were talking about, right? The Eagles' longest drive of that game, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Every other drive, their drives, they had, and I'm looking at it right now, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had 7 drives that didn't last more than 2 minutes.
Because they don't run the ball.
They didn't run the ball.
I was just going to say, do they hate Miles Sanders or something?
2 carries.
They hate Miles Sanders. Like, it's almost like they don't like him because he's on a contract year. What are you saving the guy for?
And then 2 weeks ago, he rushes 24 times.
Are you saving him for next year when you don't have him? Like, Miles Sanders needs to get the ball. They had 2 rushes in the first half. It's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable.
How does that happen?
I don't get how that happens.
How does that like? Oh yeah, we're only going to call. You know what? I think we're only going to call two running plays for the first 2 quarters of a football. Like
with
really?
no Chase Young, we're not going to run the ball. Are you that afraid of Jonathan Allen?
That's
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the only thing I could think
There's
of
no
is that
excuse
Jeff
for that.
Lurie is up there, bitching that we're not passing enough, and they're like scared of Jeff Lurie. That's the
which
only
is
thing I
totally
can think of.
possible. Yeah.
It is possible, but my point is like it's almost like a brain dead mentality. Like that the best way to stop a team that is running the ball and controlling the clock, it's to run the ball yourself and to control the clock back. And you saw what happened the minute that the Eagles actually went on a little bit of a sustained drive. The next drive, the defense came out, and that's when they get the pick.
Mhm.
Because they weren't tired. They actually had a little bit of a rest.
Yeah.
When you continually have your defense out there and they're gassed, you have to run the ball. Like that's rocket science.
We basically had our defense out there for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
3 full quarters, we basically had our defense out there. How do you expect to win? How do you expect to stop anybody? Like it drives me nuts because if Washington was a better team, the score would be way worse.
Absolutely.
Because they, regardless of having the ball for 41 minutes, they scored what? I'm not even counting the last points because that doesn't matter. So they scored 26 points for having the ball for 41 minutes. If that was any other team, it would be like 40 points. Like it would be fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
And yet no adjustments were made whatsoever. That's what scares me. And I'm not worried about our players. I'm not worried about them playing at a high level. I'm done worrying and questioning Jalen Hurts because he looked excellent.
Looked awesome.
I'm again sitting here talking to my 3 buds, my 3 bros, questioning Jonathan Gannon like I've been doing, and it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to talk about is how I hate Jonathan
Who
Gannon.
do you hate worse? Jonathan Gannon or the linebacker?
Davion Taylor.
Oh man, you thought he was that topic was gonna go away, huh, Rich? But
I'm still on the fuck Davion Taylor train.
Oh, come on.
Hey man, it's not my fault he was drafted in the 3rd round. It's not his either. I'll cut him a break. It's definitely Gannon. I mean, they both couldn't adjust, and they really both don't know how to work a defense. So, I mean, they're like 1-1. Jonathan Gannon is the Davion Taylor of coaches.
There you go.
Except his players create turnovers.
And the problem with Gannon is he has good enough talent to make this work, to make the adjustments, to be a successful defense. But he can't get out of his own way. I don't understand, like, why isn't that conversation? Why isn't Sirianni going up and saying something then during the game?
Yeah.
Like, look, dude, we're getting killed. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Now it's the 2nd quarter. It's the middle of the 2nd quarter. We're approaching halftime, whatever it is, dude. It's not working. We got it. We've got to try something different. Like that conversation has to be had.
Yeah. Joe, before you leave, because I know you gotta skedaddle soon. We gotta break down Indy. Give us what you think, brother. It's Indy this week.
Oh God.
We gotta move past the team, baby.
we're gonna pull it out, but it's gonna be another. I think we're gonna sweat it out. I think it's gonna be another game like Washington. Obviously, I think Taylor's still gonna get his. He's still gonna get his stats. I think we pulled out 27-23, and I think Miles Sanders is gonna have a good game. It's going to be tough trying to make up for Goddard. That's tough. That's a big loss. I mean,
yeah,
he was one of the best in the league, and we relied on him a lot. I think AJ Brown has a bounce back game. He had probably his worst game as an Eagle last week. But I think he bounces back too. But this game is, I mean, it's on the defense. They've got to make.
Yeah, it really is.
they've got to make enough plays for us not to lose. Because we had the shortcomings with the defense for this game, and now we're missing our one of our best receivers, and he's going to be out for, I don't know, what, a month? What are they saying, a month?
Yeah, this 4 weeks at least with him being on IRs, at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's tough because he opened up. He took up the middle of the field, and he could dump off passes. He was the safety valve for Hurts, and he's not there. So you it's hard to have faith in Jonathan Gannon because he's so set in his ways. But you just hope that they can make just enough plays to pull it out. But I think they win 27-23, but it's not going to be pretty.
I like it, Joe. I like it.
Jay, what do you got?
I think we're doing predictions.
No, we're going to talk about the game. I just wanted to hear what Joe had to say because Joe's got to bounce.
All right. You want to do? How about we do this? How about we're going to play our fantasy tips from our guys at Losing Sucks, and then we'll on the other side, we'll talk Eagles Colts.
Good. See you, Joe.
Bye, guys.
See you, Joe.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Get some sleep.
Drunk on Broad. What up, boys? It is week 11. 10 weeks in the books. I know you guys are a little bit sad this week as the Eagles dropped their first game of the season. It was a show on Monday night. It should not have happened, but it did. We said all along, the one team that finds a way to control the clock, get a couple timely penalties, maybe some fumbles, and it all happened on the same night. But I'm sure you guys will rally. You've got bigger dreams than just the perfect season. From a fantasy perspective, Week 10 was full of goodies. Justin Fields is, in fact, God in fantasy football. Most points in a 4-game stretch in the history of fantasy football for the quarterback. 130 points in 4 games. Unbelievable. If you have Jalen Hurts over the last 4 weeks, you should have won all 4. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I feel like a broken record. We say this every week. He is a target monster. 10 catches for 119 yards. However, he does not find the end zone, which keeps his buy window open just a bit. If you can go get him now, most people have their trade deadline this week or next. Throw everything you can to try to get him. It's coming. 10 for 119 is all you can ask for if he gets in the end zone. That's a top 5 guy week in and week out. Kyler Murray sits and the Cardinals win. Would you look at that? James Conner looked like 2021 Conner with 2 touchdowns. More on Conner to come. DeAndre Hopkins, 10 for 98, just another day in the office for Hop. He's absolutely unguardable. He was worth the wait, worth snagging in the 7th, 8th round whenever you could get him. Zach Ertz is done. Hollywood Brown could be back this week. That's big. Everybody thought it was for sure after the bye week, and it still could be, but he practiced today. I would not be shocked to see him suit up for some sort of role on Monday night, which is great music to the ears of fantasy owners. Tyler Higbee goes 8 for 73. He is now, in my eyes, the number 1 option in that offense. You would usually think, the other receiver will step up. Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, and they should, but I don't think they're the number 1 look. I think Tyler Higbee gets around 10 targets a game going forward. If he's out there, and he might be because his name is just not a sexy name, go get Tyler Higbee. You're going to get great production from him going forward. Tony Pollard. Running back 2 overall since Zeke went down. This is what Tony Pollard truthers have been saying for years. The opportunity presented itself, and Tony has seized it. Zeke should be back soon. I'm not exactly sure what that will do to the role, but I still think Tony Pollard is an every week start, even when Zeke is healthy and playing. He's just that good. Aaron Jones is so far above A.J. Dillon right now. Incredible. Based on them being drafted just 3 or 4 rounds apart, the difference in production is unbelievable. A.J. Dillon has been a huge disappointment. RB38 on the season. I don't think you can sell him. You're probably not cutting him because he's still a top handcuff. But we had bigger hopes for Dillon than just a handcuff. We thought he would have a good role. Maybe as the weather changes, Green Bay finds a way to get Dillon rolling again. But right now, he's unplayable, just like Kareem Hunt. Unplayable is the word here. If Chubb is healthy, Kareem Hunt and A.J. Dillon are killing you. Both of them outside the top 35 running backs since week 1 and 2. Moving on to week 11, here's my rundown of advice. I've got 6 or 7 things. First, I'm selling James Conner after his 2-touchdown day. Brutal schedule coming up for Conner. San Francisco, New England, Denver, Tampa Bay, and a bye week, all in the next 6 weeks. No thank you. Sell immediately if you can. I am buying Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase is still on crutches. I don't know that we see him come back in the fantasy season this year, which is heartbreaking. I have some shares of Chase that I really need him to get active. I don't know that it happens. It's week 11 and he's still on crutches, so you're running out of time here. Tyler Boyd's value is going up, especially in redraft. Get a price check on selling Juju Smith-Schuster. This one hurts because I love Juju. I have a lot of shares of Juju myself, but it is so crowded there right now. Kelsey, Hardman, MVS, Tony, and the running backs. It's going to be a roulette. I've used that word a lot about the Eagles. These really successful teams are just going to take what they're given by the defense, and it's not going to be Juju on a consistent basis. So the name carries value. His last 4 weeks before this last week getting a concussion have been really good. You can probably get equal value for Juju. TJ Hawkinson is absolutely legit. He is my tight end 3 rest of the season, only behind Kelsey and Andrews. I am buying Hawkinson. At least check the price. It may be too high. That owner may realize what they have, but if they don't, if they're sleeping on him a little bit, he's worth it. His role in this offense is going to be juicy all the way out. Finally, just a little bit of how we feel about where you're at this point in the season, with just 4 games left in the regular season for fantasy. If you have a winning record or are confident that you are going to make the playoffs, go buy players from teams who have guys on bye week that cannot afford to lose again. What I mean by this is, example, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, Christian Kirk, Ingram, Godwin, Evans, all these guys that are on bye this week, you can go get from teams that are 4-6 or 5-5 and feel like they're up against the wall. They have to do something to stay alive. Give them somebody who's playing this week and take their Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. On the other side of that, if you have to win out, don't wait for your bye week guys. You have to move them for equal value. Don't sell them cheap, but somebody out there that's 7-3 or 6-4 will take those guys and give you guys that can help you right now. So make the move, go do it. That's it for me this week. Like we always say, losing sucks. Don't do it. And go Birds. Feel free to DM us anytime you want. We're going to have some more articles and discussion topics on the website this week. We'd love to hear from you guys at losingsucksfantasy.com. Good luck in week 11.
Gentlemen, it's a lot to unpack.
Man, fuck fantasy.
That guy does a good job.
I've hit them up on a couple of things where I've had to,
I couldn't DM him. I tried to DM him last week. I needed advice. DMs weren't open.
He does a good job.
Stop. I hit him up. I was looking at the Josh Allen situation, right, and not knowing whether or not he was going to play. Picked up Trevor Lawrence because I thought he was going to not play, and then he ends up playing and ends up scoring a shit ton of points. But, like, as far as fantasy stuff goes, I like the advice in terms of, like, trying to take advantage of guys on buys. It's a good strategy, right? If you're trying to, get a step up, right? Always good to be on the end of getting the best player in the trade. Yeah. Especially if that guy is on a bye this week and you can kind of afford to take him on, maybe give him 2 guys that he might need that are going to score some kind of points versus a guy that you can take on that's on a bye that is not going to get you any points this week, but will be good.
Yeah, it helps you out. Yeah, it helps you out in the playoff run. Jay, are you in the Megla Bowl?
I'm sorry? Are
you in the Megla Bowl from the fantasy fantasy footballers big thing? Are you in that?
I'm in Scott Fishbowl.
You're in the Fishbowl. Yeah, you're not in. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm in it, and I'm in second place. There's 10,000. Well, there's 10,000 teams, right? There's over 10,000 teams. So the top team in every one makes it to the playoffs after, I think, week 13.
Oh.
So, yeah. So the guy – I'm in second place. The guy in first place offered me a trade because I wound up making a few moves, but I have no wide receivers. But I mean, this league is ridiculous. It's half-point PPR, tight end premium. Nobody's out there on waiver wires. It's very hard. Trades that are being made are absolutely terrible because everybody listens to the same podcast. So everybody's trying to get over on everybody. And it's just annoying. Like you can't make a good trade. So I'm going to tell you a trade I had to pull off because I needed wide receivers. And it's probably one of the worst trades, and I would never do it in any other league. I traded Nick Chubb.
Huh?
Yeah. I hate Nick Chubb. I traded him anyway. I have Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard, and Josh Jacobs. So I'm okay on that front.
Who'd you get back?
Rondell Moore and Michael Pittman.
Stop
Last week, I had to start Darius Slayton and Marvin Jones as my wide receivers. And it's you start 3 wide receivers and 3 flex spots.
Sounds like a crazy league.
Wow.
You'll have
Jay,
to be in that next year.
It's if you're in like the fantasy guy or the fantasy footballers, it's like $5 a month. You do their Patreon or whatever. You get an automatic invite. And if you win the whole thing, you get a spot in their listener league. So that's like the prize. So I'm like, yeah, I would like to win. Jesus Christ. This one guy who's in first has all these studs. I have no idea how he got them because it's a way separate league. It's like a different league than what we're in. It's amazing. Like, I want to know who he drafted with because it's either he drafted with a bunch of morons or he's just that great. He's got like Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, ETN. He had Breece Hall. He has Tyreek Hill. I think he has like Justin Jefferson as well. His team's insane. And I'm like, how the hell did you draft this team?
Is he just in a league by himself and just like
it's all broken down, and you only get one invite.
Maybe he owns secretly every team on a different year.
Now, if he did that and all of a sudden got the same time spot in the same league for all those guys, good for him because it's insane, like how this guy drafted this team. But anyway, fantasy is rough. It's so much fun, but God, it sucks.
Yeah, I'm struggling this year, dude.
My players aren't even hurt; they're just not scoring.
Oh, I got a lot of guys out.
Well, and speaking of like
Ertz, that's brutal, dude.
Like, but speaking of like guys that like, so one guy, right? See if you can guess, right? I'm gonna look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 8th highest ranked quarterback or the player over the entire season is a quarterback. You want to guess who the 8th ranked player is in terms of total points?
Justin Fields.
Nope.
Josh Allen.
Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah. Geno Smith's having a great year.
He's having a great year, right? But he's a guy, Rich, that probably in 99% of the leagues probably went undrafted. Nobody even thought that because everybody was on the Russ kick and everybody thought that Russ with those weapons was going to be great, right? And Geno Smith just comes in and quietly just kind of kills every idea that you thought he was cooked, right? And he's really in a position that he's probably going to come back and play there next year too.
Yeah,
because he's been that productive.
Definitely getting an extension. I mean, look at the wide receivers. Look at the running backs. It's crazy. Saquon Barkley, number 1 running back, and then Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's always there. But then you look, the field's wide open. Miami has 2 of the best wide receivers. Jalen Waddle has more receiving yards, obviously due to injury, but then Cooper Kupp, and then Tyreek Hill's in the league of his own. And then you still have Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs. Like, yeah, wide receivers kind of, but all those first-round running backs that you picked, I have Kamara in a bunch of leagues. Doesn't fuck me any. But if I would have picked up Ramondre Stevenson, if I would have picked up Khalil Herbert when he was hot, if I would have picked up Michael Carter, I'd get more production out of those guys.
Donta Foreman.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's insane.
I picked him up in like 6 leagues when CMC got traded. I picked him like right up before anybody got him. And like, he's my running back 1 in leagues
Nuts.
where I have no running. I drafted 0 running backs. That's usually my style. So I now have a chance to win all those leagues because I got Dante Foreman. That's why you've said it. We always both agree. The number one important thing about fantasy is the waiver wire. If you're good on the waiver wire, you have a shot in any league.
You
Because
don't win at the draft.
Because injuries, dude, injuries kill. Think about the people that drafted Cooper Kupp as their best player. Dude, their season's over. You cannot replicate Cooper Kupp. There's no way to pick up a guy on the waiver wire right now that's going to make up.
3 guys can't give you Cooper Kupp's production.
Exactly.
So it's like, what do you do? You're just fucked.
Yeah.
And you look at and it's so funny because I want to say, look at Jamar Chase. He killed me when I lost Jamar Chase and Breece Hall in the same day.
Yep.
I was killing it. These guys were just getting me points, and it's just like, let me start the carousel of the Josh Palmers, the Tyler Boyds, the whoever I can pray to God to get points from. It didn't happen.
Yeah, whoever you can find.
Well, and that's our fantasy segment. Now, back to the Eagles.
Sponsored by Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, sponsored by Jonathan Gannon Hate Talk.
Oh, my God. All right, so Colts. So the Colts, right, we obviously know that Jonathan Taylor is a huge key to stop, right? Michael Pittman is another guy that they got to keep half an eye on.
We're there, right? We're in Indianapolis.
It's in Indy at 1.
So
what are your thoughts going in?
I mean, we need to stop Jonathan Taylor. It's going to be a long day. How I look at it is the defensive side of the ball for the Colts. They're not that good. I'm not really afraid of the Colts. They beat the Raiders, but the Raiders are just absolutely atrocious. They don't scare me a bit. I look at the games that they've won and played. Indy is not a terrifying team, but again, Jonathan Taylor wasn't Jonathan Taylor. If they control the clock and Jonathan Taylor breaks off 2 60-yard touchdown runs, we're going to be in trouble. But we have the firepower to come back and combat that, so I'm okay with it. My issue is, can we? It's all on Gannon. Let's be real. It's all on Gannon. If he adjusts and stops the run, I'm fine because Matt Ryan's not going to beat you through the air. The dude's air yards per throw is like 2, so it's going to be a lot of slant routes. He's not going to throw the ball deep. We have the perfect defense to combat that, but can we stop the run? That's yet to be determined. I think
if they come out and don't stack the box in those first 2 possessions, right, and show them that they're not going to let them run the ball, it's going to be a long day. It's
indicative of Jonathan Taylor going off. So I have it either going both ways, 27-24 Eagles, 27-24 Colts. Again, it's all indicative of if they can stop Jonathan Taylor. My key to the game is a late interception of Matt Ryan from our boy, what I called last week, a nice interception, from Garner Johnson, CJJ. A nice late interception, ball across the middle, batted up, he's there, and they seal the game. That's what I hope happens. But if Jonathan Taylor gets loose, we're going to be in for a long day, and I don't see the Eagles making the adjustments as per last week. So they either win by 3 or they lose by 3. And it's all going to be not like last second, but it's going to be all fourth quarter-ish.
Jay, what do you got?
I see.
So I think the Eagles getting smacked in the mouth and basically self-destructing and beating themselves, I think it's going to teach them a valuable lesson. I don't think Jonathan Gannon is necessarily going to make adjustments, but I do think that the team as a whole will play much better and be prepared. I think they came out flat against Washington after having all that time off where they realistically should have never been flat. I'm going to say the Eagles are actually going to score over 30 points this game. I think they're going to come out and I think they're going to manhandle the Colts, even despite the fact that Jonathan Taylor is there. And I think Jonathan Taylor will get a touchdown and he'll have 100 yards. But I think the Eagles win 31-17. My player of the game is going to be A.J. Brown. He's going to go off again. He's going to have 10 for like 150. but I think the play of the game comes later in the third quarter. Kes Watkins will actually get a touchdown this game and not a fumble. Because I think he showed the last couple of games he's been getting open a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think with Goddard going down, he's going to be more important in this offense, as the third option. So that's what I got.
I like it.
Listen, I'm kind of right in between both of you. I think they do get a chance to put some points up on the board. I think they take advantage of what essentially is a very suspect Colts defense. I think they've learned their lesson in terms of how to utilize the offense in a way that they can get guys in space. I think they take advantage of the matchups that they have on the outside. I really don't think there's a guy in the Colts secondary that can stay with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think it's either one or the other. I think one of them has 100+ yards and a touchdown. I think, but to agree, I think there's a key play on defense that kind of seals it late. So I'm going like 31-10, 31-14.
Wow.
I think they do. I think they pull away. I think they've learned their lesson. But I do think, like we've all kind of said, I think Jonathan Taylor kind of gets his. I think they're gonna focus on letting him run. I think he's a guy that's good enough to get in space regardless of what the defense does. So for me, that to me is you kind of let him get his and let the other guy force the other guys to beat you. I think you force Matt Ryan to beat you, and I don't think Matt Ryan can beat you. So I think they pull away late. They get a late touchdown, but I think it's going to feel a lot. The score at the end is going to feel a lot bigger than the game actually is. I think the game's a little closer. I think they pull away at the end.
Nice. I like it.
Gentlemen, let's roll right into final thoughts. What do we got?
Final thoughts, man. First and foremost, shout out to the Sterling family who's suffering a loss. Mr. Scully, teacher and coach, was killed last night in a freak accident on the side of the road at 295. So shout out to Mr. Scully and his family and the Sterling family and the whole community. Sucks, and I wish it didn't happen. But my final thought is the holidays are vastly approaching. Be patient. Be kind. Remember, it's not all about gifts and what you can grab and throw in your cart from Target. Do something kind for somebody, Do something for, the person behind you in line. Maybe, add a $10 gift card and, drop it on the thing and help them with their purchase. Just look out for each other during the holiday times. Because some people don't have it as easy as we do or, as some of us do. Some of us, are struggling to get those gifts for their family and to make Christmas special. Adopt a family. Do something. Go out there and work with somebody and just try to be a good person, try to pay it forward, try to give it back. So just be kind, be patient, and also be nice to the people who are working because it's a shit time for retail. Jay will tell you, working in that industry, it's a shit time. He's getting yelled at over those baked hams and those turkeys. So be kind to them because they work hard to put the products on the shelves and put the food on your table. So be good people. That's all I can ask.
Definitely. Jay, what do you got?
Yeah, Rick, just kind of to piggyback off Rich, he kind of stole my thunder. I think a lot of times we tend to just assume that every single person is happy at this time of the year. But for many people, this is actually the hardest time of the year and the worst time of the year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that struggle with depression during this time. And it has a lot to do with the fact that not every family situation is a positive situation. A lot of people aren't close with their family members. A lot of people suffer in silence. They actually isolate during this time because they don't know any other way to do it. And as Rich said, if you're not kind and you're not aware of that, you can easily really be mean to somebody and not even mean to be mean.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand what they're going through. And you know, even sometimes if you're like, I'm not saying bragging, but like if you're like flaunting around the fact that you're having a great time and you happen to see somebody that kind of like looks uncomfortable, well, that's why. Because in that person's mind, like it's actually putting salt on a wound.
Yeah.
So just be aware, as Rich said, like be kind. You don't have to do something out of the ordinary. I mean, even just like listening to somebody, listening to a coworker, it just goes so far towards helping somebody that you might not even know that you're helping. So just piggybacking, like I said, off of Rich.
Hell yes.
Yeah. I love it. Like, listen, you know, and I think this is a time where like Thanksgiving is the one holiday that I really enjoy because it doesn't involve gifts, doesn't involve anything other than just kind of coming together and being together. But, you know, it's important to remember how thankful we are to be able to have the opportunities to be able to have the food on our plate, right? Be able to do the things that we want to be able to do in our home and try to be conscious of the families that maybe struggling or maybe can't. You know, just be thankful. Be thankful for, you know, for everything that you have, right? If it's, you know, I learned a hard lesson for, you know, someone who owns animals, right? I lost a pet on Friday, right? And that's, you know, learning the value of how important even that animal plays in your life, right? And it was, you know, not easy, right? We kind of knew something was not right, but didn't really know the extent of what was going on. But it was, you know, it was a time for our family to kind of come together, support each other, support one another. And a really a hard lesson, but a good lesson to learn right before the holidays. You know, how important it is that how important that family piece is to be in place to be able to support everybody. So with that, gentlemen, I'm gonna give you all some homework.
Oh, okay.
The next time we meet is gonna be right before Thanksgiving.
Are we doing it on Wednesday?
If we can,
I want
do
to.
it maybe let's do it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm good to do it on Wednesday night.
I want to do your Philadelphia sports Thanksgiving table.
Oh,
who are you inviting? What it's got? They have to be a current Philadelphia either sports figure.
okay.
So they have to be related, somewhat involved in Philadelphia sports. But who's coming to your Thanksgiving table?
Is it going to be 4? You want one from each team? Is that how you're handling
Jay,
it?
there are no rules here. They got to be associated with Philadelphia sports.
Okay, I like
We're
it.
having fun with this one.
All right, this is going to be fun. I'm excited.
All right. So everybody's got some homework.
Can it be fans?
Jay, there are no rules, brother. It can be whatever you want. You want it to be fans? Great. You want it to be players? Great.
Just write down a soup, Mr. Connery. Just write down a soup. Reminds me of Celebrity Jeopardy. It's like, Jay, it could be anything you want. Are you sure it can be anything I want? Just write it down. Just write it down.
Oh, gentlemen. Listen, go check out our sponsors on the link tree. Go check out, we got Von C. We're going to connect with them. We got La Terrain. We got Team Clicks. We got Shots. We got Streaker Sports. Go check them out. Go support, go buy some Drunk on Broad merch for the holiday season. Support your boys. But Rich, take us out.
Well, you stuck around. You fucked around. You found out. I'm not going to say anything mean because it's the holidays are coming up. Okay?
My man.
Being a big person here. Fuck you, Gaskin.
What about Deshaun Watson?
And Deshaun Watson. Fuck him, too. He doesn't deserve it. Now, you know what? Fuck Davion Taylor. I'm in the Grinch mood. We're just letting it happen. Let's go. And John Gannon, fuck you, too. Drunk on Broad, we love you. Episode 94. Stay tuned next week, Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. Check you later.
Skaters.
the Eagles